And Kate Williams is the royal historian. She joins me now in the studio to talk about this, I suppose, from the Queen's perspective. We've heard a lot about this from the perspective of politics in Northern Ireland, but clearly the Queen and the government have been ready for her to take part in this symbolic handshake for quite a long time already.
Yes, exactly, ANNITA. I mean, just as Ms Gallagher was saying, the country has itself moved forward. If we think that the IRA renounced violence in 2005, and since 2007 Sinn Fein have been in coalition with the DUP, and a very successful coalition as well, things have changed. And the Queen, in her historic visit to Ireland last year, the first monarch since George V to do so, she made a lot of reaching out gestures. She went to the Dublin's Garden of Remembrance and laid a wreath to all those who'd lost their lives fighting for Irish independence. She spoke in Irish, and also at a very important speech in Dublin Castle, she said there were some things we should have done differently and some things we shouldn't have done at all. So she was making the gestures then, but then Sinn Fein said no. They said it was too early to meet. This time they've decided yes, and it's a big, I think, it's a big and significant historic moment for Martin McGuinness that he said yes. It really is. He said himself, it's time to show our respect for the other members of the coalition. It's time to show our respect for those in the DUP who do believe the Queen is head of state.
Now, you talked about the Queen's visit to the Republic of Ireland last year, and of course a lot of what she does comes on the advice of the people around her and the government. But one of the people I spoke to a little earlier was saying that when he had talked to Republicans prior to this visit, you know, there was no thought that this could ever be possible, that a senior member of Sinn Fein and the Queen could shake hands. But then they said when they saw her in Dublin, she was, to quote them, a class act. So how much of this do you think is down to her personally?
Yes, I think both sides. The Queen is advised. She is, of course, she speaks to David Cameron, she speaks to the Cabinet, she has her advisors, she speaks to the ministers. But at the same time, she does have her own ideas as well. And I think the idea of reconciliation, of peaceful moving forwards, is very important to the Queen. I mean, you're absolutely right. This would have seemed unthinkable some time ago. In the 80s, it would have seemed unthinkable. But things have moved on. They have changed. And the Queen herself, I think, is very fitted to make this gesture because, of course, she herself has lost someone. She herself lost her cousin, Lord Mountbatten, in 1979. He was killed by the IRA, and also his grandson and other members of the Holiday Party were killed as well. And she was terribly fond of him. He wasn't just a minor cousin. She was incredibly fond of him, and really many people credit him with arranging, pushing forwards the marriage between her and Prince Philip. Prince Philip was a devoted friend of Lord Mountbatten, who often saw him as an adoptive father. So the loss of Mountbatten in 1979 was very devastating for both the Queen and Prince Philip. And the fact that, you know, now they have essentially put that behind them, and all the people, so many people have lost their lives. They've lost friends, they've lost relations, just as Mr Gallagher has in the Troubles. And it looks like we are moving forwards now. It's all behind us, and a new peaceful coalition.
How significant from the Queen's perspective do you think is it that this is happening in her Diamond Jubilee year? Of course, the Republicans wouldn't want it to be seen as some sort of recognition on their part of her Diamond Jubilee, but how important do you think it is to her?
It's very important, and this is her Diamond Jubilee visit to Northern Ireland. And previously, in the old days, the visits wouldn't be announced in advance because there were security concerns. Now it's announced in advance where she's going to be, what she's going to be doing, and it's very important for her on her Diamond Jubilee year. And she will, I think, begin to wind down her public engagements, particularly the travelling, especially thinking of the Duke of Edinburgh's health. She's going to wind down. So this is a real big triumph for her, and really unthinkable considering some of the earlier parts of her reign. And if her father saw himself as the King of Empire, as he did, George VI, she really sees herself as the Queen of Commonwealth, and she's very keen, we can see this in her Queen's speeches at Christmas, in creating harmony and peace and friendship, and I think, so she must be very proud of herself today.
OK, Kate, thank you very much. Kate Williams, the royal historian. Thank you.